All right, and welcome to Answering God's Calling in Your Life, where we're going to not only talk about the calling that God has done in my life, but also what God's calling me to do now. But also, I'm going to try to reach out to different people to have them come along with us and tell us how they got called. Because when you tell someone, tell me your testimony, you get the very basics of this. I want you to know that I grew up inside the church, and at a very early age, God touched me and said that I belong to Him, which is great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that's wrong, because in my testimony, that's exactly how I word it. Is I grew up in the church. 8 or 9, I got saved, and I've been a believer ever since. What I do want you to know, though, is that God was talking to me way before that. So there is actually a story that I'm going to share with you in the Bible. It's in 1 Samuel chapter 3, and it's a story of Samuel. So Samuel was asleep, and he heard his name, and so he went to Eli, and Eli said, "No, I didn't call you. Go lay back down." Well, so he did. He went lay back down, and guess what happened? He got called again. And so he went to Eli again, and of course Eli said, "Go lay down." It wasn't me. And so, Samuel goes and lays back down. And for the third time, his name was called out, Samuel, Samuel. And so Samuel goes back to Eli again and says, you called for me again. And Eli goes, "No. Next time you hear your name, I want you to say, speak, God, I'm listening." So, Samuel goes and lays back down. And again, he hears his name. Well, this time he does say, "Lord, speak, for I am listening." And God tells him that judgment times came for Eli's family. And so, Samuel goes back to sleep and wakes up in the morning. He rose early and went and opened the doors of the sanctuary and went about his duties. But he dreaded having to tell Samuel about what God told him the night before. Now, I want to tell you a story about my life. When I was 5 or 6, I heard my name numerous times. I was upstairs playing at my mom and dad's house, and I would go to my mom and dad after I heard my name. And each time, it would be, "No, we didn't call for you." And this would go on, and I would be upstairs playing and hear my name, and have to come back downstairs, find my mom and dad, and say, "Yeah, well, what did you need?" And each time they said, "No, we didn't call you." And it was really frustrating because I was really into my game. My imagination would run rampant, and I just kind of stopped because something called. And this went on for quite some time. And finally, I said, "All right, well, whatever's around me, speak." And when I did this, boy, did he speak. I was told that I was going to grow up and I was going to work inside of a church. 5 or 6, remember this, right? Being told that I'm going to grow up and work inside a church. So I fast forward a couple of years, and I start attending a church camp called Rehoboth Church Camp, and went all week long. I met the saxophone player that was in the band, and on top of that, Thursday night is their altar call night, and Thursday night, I felt a tug at my heart, so I went up front and I said, "Hey, I'm feeling like God's calling me today. God is wanting me to turn my life over." And so I pray the prayer and I ask Jesus in my life and I get saved. It's great. And cool. I get super involved with this group in junior high called Shock, which are students high on Christ, and I started helping lead them. My lessons started getting too in depth for them, and so I had to stop leading. Then whenever we graduated from 8th grade and we got to go to the big high school, I got super involved with FCA because, one, I played golf, I was the school mascot, and I was the football camera guy, I was the basketball camera guy, I was the man to know on campus because I was at all the games, I was part of the leaders of the Code Red section, and it was great. But on top of that, on top of being in high school, I was also involved with my youth group. And I started helping lead that. I was also one of those, well, if no one else has the answer, I'm going to have the answer for you. Whenever we were having lessons and there needed to be an answer. So, went from leading Shock to not leading Shock to going into high school doing FCA. And my junior year of high school, so this would have been about 2010, 2011, all right? I came up with this idea to have this event called The Awakening, a night of worship. And the whole point of this event, it was simple as this: to have all these people come in together and have a night of worship. And here's the thing. That first year that we did that, I say first year because we had 2 years. And that first year that we did it, it was great. We brought in the Jordan Howerton Band, and I had a friend that was in a band. They were called Redemption 1-7. We had both of them play, and I gave a message, and my buddy Kyle Anderson gave a message, and it was great. I loved it. It was so good that my senior year, which was 2011 to 2012, we decided we were going to have another one. I love the idea of having another one. Except for the fact that a lot of my shot calling was taken away that year. I was still a speaker. Kyle was still a speaker. Redemption 1-7 was still there playing. But we brought in a band from Southern Illinois. And they were good. But they're not what I wanted. I didn't feel like that's what God wanted. I remember I said there was only 2 years. This was an event that I was creating to make go for years. I would love to do more events like this. Because the simple fact that when we all join together in the name of Christ, great things can happen. So I graduated. We hit the road that summer. I was on the road with Redemption 1-7. I was also filling the pulpit at different churches. But not only that, I spent an entire month leading a church. I was their guy for the entire month. They were looking for a pastor, and I was totally up for it. What got me out of the running was the simple fact that I was getting ready to leave for college. And my college was over 2 hours away. And if anyone knows anything about the winters in Illinois, it's this: that it snows, it ices, it gets bad all at once. So they said, in the safeties of the church and the pastor, you are not our decision. Which I just think it was more of a, well, we're going to be nice to you and tell you this is what's going on. But honestly, it's you're young, you're a little too young, and that's okay. So I went off to college and met some great friends at the first college at Lincoln Christian University, and met some wonderful mentors. The downside is that I really didn't want to go off to college quite yet. I wanted to take a year off and kind of soak it all in, kick back, relax, and then dive right into schooling. But I was told I had to go to college, so I went off to college. And well, my fire for God started slowly dwindling. My wanting to be at college, going to school was not there. I really didn't want to be there. I felt like God started calling me to go to Missouri Baptist to be in St. Louis, and so this is leading up to the Michael Brown situation. And St. Louis has always been known to be a little bad, but this was like the turning point. Like things were leading up to it, and it was just getting bad. So I was already dwindling my faith, and I was turning my back on God, and this is what happened. I started dating this girl from high school. I thought it was great. It was going good, and the relationship advanced quicker than it should have. It did some things that I shouldn't have, but it's all right. That's between me and God, and we've talked it over and everything. I turned my back on God. One reason I stepped out of church was my job would not let me have Sundays off. And for anyone that has to go through that, that's the most toughest thing ever. Because if you grew up going to church every Sunday, that's what you expect. You expect that you'll be able to go to church. And I did. I expected to go to church. When I started at Walmart, that did not happen. I had to work, which is fine. I mean, I had to provide for a family. So I worked for Walmart for about 5 years. And a lot of things happened in those 5 years. I had a son. My music career really started off. I got married. I have 2 stepdaughters. I got back into church. This whole thing, this whole series of answering God's calling in your life is going to be different for each and every person. My whole thing is to let God lead us on this. I don't want it to be what I feel needs to be said. Everything that's said is going to be God-led. Because whenever we get our humanists in the way, things will start hurting. When I let God lead, He will make sure that everything's done in His way. And if we involve God, if it's His way, He will make something good out of it. And I'll catch you guys next time on Answering God's Calling in Your Life.